What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another week of Tower Talk Show. It is restart day. It is Tuesday. I guess not a new face in the crowd here to the crew, but we have Taka back this week. You guys better get used to seeing all of his beautifulness because he has officially joined the show as a permanent co-host. Welcome, Taka. Yeah, seriously, this is a freaking... Gamer's out. Gamer is in the middle of moving. Somehow something goofed up. He ended up without internet for like a whole week. Without internet, I think is like...
It's rough.
That's like a year, basically, with no internet. Have to go an entire week. It is all bad. We have a whole bunch of just random odds and ends that I don't think anybody was planning for this week. We're going to talk about just the Double Loot Nightfall. Another trailer reveal. I don't know if it's like a reveal still at this point, because
just teasers, right?
Teasers.
Just teasing stuff.
Just a nip slip. Not even the whole boob. Just a little itty bitty. We got some changes to the Ghost that we're going to be talking about as well. Some of which, personally, I'm very excited for. Other things, not so much. But yeah, all the stuff's happening. Of course, I'm your host, The Beard. We have former, as per usual, and then Taka. We already talked about Taka. But how was your guys' weeks? What did you guys do?
Farmed Nightfall.
Other than grind the Nightfall.
Yeah, pretty much. That's about it.
That was
exclusive Nightfall farming.
It was just today all by itself. I felt like it was an entire week. Today was just stupid busy. I don't know what. Just outside of games and stuff. I just felt like today had, I don't know, all the things happening. We had a walkthrough for our new house this morning. We had to be adults and go buy appliances too. So we went to an appliance store. I've never been into one of those.
They're not fun because price tags are big.
Yeah, price tags were multiple digits. And all to the left of the decimal, which I didn't prefer. Yeah, but then, so we went to this dentist appointment for my wife, which, we walk in thinking she's going to get x-rays, and, 15 minutes later, they're, injecting her and, today out her teeth and stuff. So, it was, this random, just, everything happened today. I don't know what it was.
Did they mix up patients?
No, she was just going to be x-rays, and they were we can yank these teeth, because, her wisdom teeth or whatever,
They just pulled her wisdom teeth out?
Yeah, we walked in, did the new patient sign-in thing, and literally within minutes they were sticking a needle in her gums and pulling out teeth.
Sounds so sketch.
Wait, dentists don't pull wisdom teeth, do they? Don't you have to go somewhere where they operate on you or whatever?
I'm not a dentist. I sell houses, but from what I understand, if it's not impact, because they were fully grown, fully out, and
she
so
just didn't want them
to just go. Yeah, she was biting into her cheeks and stuff. It was super uncomfortable. She's been complaining about it for a good couple days. But yeah, so half of the lidocaine or novocaine or whatever they use is worn off on the one half. And so she still has the other half. And so she's talking like this. It's freaking hilarious how half of her mouth is moving. And so I was teasing her a whole lot before we jumped on.
What a jerk.
I know.
You heard it here first. Man. Beard teases his wife and makes fun of her.
Yeah, well, when you have half your mouth numb and you're talking like this, it's great. Freaking hilarious. Anyways, today felt like a whole week in and of itself. But anyways, freaking build of the week. I don't know if we have a build, but we definitely have a sniper to talk about. Freaking Broialis, as former has coined it.
I've officially dubbed it the Broialis.
Official.
The Broialis.
Yep.
So yeah, you've been clicking some heads with it, haven't you?
Yeah. This guy, he's gonna talk about it, right?
Yeah, over there. I don't know which way's your. There it is. Nailed it.
It's not really a build. I just put Borealis on and started using it because,
So what prompted you?
Well, we've touched base a lot on the show as far as sunsetting, and so I feel like within the community there's this search to get weapons that are gonna stick around, And people are kind of one of two ways. They're using the weapons that are about to get sunsetted as like, this is my last chance, or they're trying to get used to using weapons that'll stick around and leave the ones they've been using a while and been relying on kind of behind. And so I feel like most of us has fallen into that second category of what weapons can I chase now that aren't going to disappear in a couple months. And actually, Drewski a while back put out a video saying that he's been leaning on Sunshot a lot. That's it's a 150 RPM hand cannon. It has explosive rounds, so it can hit from farther away. It has really good stability and range. Kind of has a lot going for him. And he was just saying that he's decided that that's kind of his main go-to hand cannon. And so, like, with that like crossed my mind, and I was like, well, what snipers are exotic that we can still use? I actually went looking for Izanagi's Burden. I was going to print one off because I was like, that's a kinetic 72 RPM. And I looked at it and it's 90 RPM. I had no freaking idea. I guess because of the exotic perk, I assumed it was the hardest hitting sniper, but it's not.
Nope.
And so I was like, well, cool. Is there even a 72 RPM exotic sniper that won't get sunset? And came across Borealis and was like, and caught my eye because I was like, oh, look, it's a 72 RPM, but the stats are jacked. Like, it has 78 handling, I want to say 60 something stability, both of which are usually really low on 72 RPM snipers. I think on Revoker both of those stats are in like the 20s or 30s. So I was like, holy.
Revoker only feels snappy just because of snapshot, but like
exactly,
it's a low handling sniper.
And that was the downside to using an exotic sniper, is that it's not going to have snapshot or quick draw or anything. Well, Borealis has really high base handling, so I paired it with the Ophidian Aspects on Warlock that increases your ready stow speed, ADS, and reload speeds, and an enhanced targeting mod. And it's not snapshot. It's closer to like quick draw, possibly quick draw with like a targeting mod that helps you ADS a bit quicker. So it's snappy enough for me, who is not a sniper main, to where I'm not being snobby about it. And it feels good, and it has 5 in the mag too, which is awesome, because used to running around with Revoker with only 3 shots. Having 5 is just like, you hardly ever have to reload. You just tank shots on people. So it's been fun.
5 is massive. That's a huge magazine for the 72 RPM.
Yeah. So it just has really good stats across the board. I have the Catalyst. I haven't finished it. But if you do, it adds 18 reload speed, so it takes it from 50 to 68. So then the reload speed is pretty freaking high for a sniper. With Ophidian Aspects, it's, like I said, it's not a big deal, as is now, but it just gets even faster. So, I don't know, it just had really good base stats, and I threw it on. It also has a 45 zoom factor, which is the same as Eye of Soul from Trials of Osiris. It's only 5 more than Beloved, which I would say is probably the fan favorite amongst the community. So it's
just in that slot.
Yeah, in that slot.
So
Taka and I are definitely low zoom sniper sluts. I think probably more so myself, because I know you've been rocking the Ikelos sniper a little bit more lately.
Which also has a 45 zoom, by the way.
Yeah, so it's just already kind of right there. Picking it up for me, like, I just exclusively use Revoker. And obviously, Taka's a much better sniper than I am, but I just feel like the zoom enough was pretty jarring, going from like, so I picked up a Bite of the Fox recently that I'll be carrying into next season. Same slot, same archetype, right? But just that zoom is enough to like really make a massive difference. Mm-hmm. So if you've already been using, if you use Beloved a little bit more, you've been using Eye of Soul, then you'll probably feel right at home with the zoom factor. Obviously not going to have things like snapshot, but you were telling me how the exotic perk, when you break shields on like a super, basically, it gives you increased damage. We haven't checked out whether or not we can like one-shot body.
Oh, we have.
Oh, you guys did?
Yeah.
Checked it out into a private match and try it?
We were on such a high note, giving some mad props to Bungie for this weapon, and now we're about to troll on it. But yeah, it's super, super underwhelming. And so bottom line is, the perk says that if you break an enemy shield or a Guardian's shield while they're in their super with the same affinity, because because with Borealis you can hold reload and it cycles through the 3 elements. If you break their shield, you get a damage buff for the rest of the magazine. And so when I read that, and it specifically says a Guardian while in their super, in my mind I'm like, okay, hold up. That means if we're in like elimination, I know they've got a Dawn Blade or a Striker Titan or something. I just cycle over to Arc or Solar or whatever super the other team has. And if I can dome them in the face, which will one-shot them because it's a 72 RPM, I'll get a damage buff for the rest of my mag, which means I can just one-tap anybody else on their team I come across. Well, the damage buff is 15%, and so it takes your body shot damage from 153, I think, to about 182, which will not one-shot anybody.
Yeah.
Why it's not a 20 or 25% buff, I don't know. 20% should be able to one-shot 4 resilience and lower, because that's what Empowering Rift does, and that's a strat a lot of people use, is drop Empowering Rift, try and body shot people. Same thing with Middle Tree Striker, their damage buff I can never remember. So yeah,
you slide over ammo.
Yeah,
You
so
get rampage. Cool.
just super underwhelming, and I think the reason was there's a lot of these cases, I'd say, in the game where things were overlooked as the game changed. And bottom line is Borealis used to be a heavy weapon, just like all snipers back when.
That was news to me when you were like, dude, Borealis. And I was like, heavy.
Yeah, because it used to be. But then when Forsaken came out and they moved snipers, shotguns, and fusions and all that back into kinetic and special weapons or energy weapons, Borealis got moved to energy. And I'm guessing the 15% damage increase was because it was already a heavy weapon, probably packed more of a punch back then. And so they didn't want to overdo it on this damage buff, so they were being pretty conservative. Well, now that it's just regular special weapon sniper, 15% does nothing. It doesn't change your time to kill. You already one-shot everything, even a super. The Spectral Blade's Hunter, while invisible, has the most damage resistance out of all supers, and it'll one-shot him to the face just fine. So I guess if you're in like a trial situation and you're facing people that are higher level than you and they're in their super, like,
You still got to get the headshot off too.
that's the thing. Like, it also
Even the body's not going to break the shields, right, in a super?
Even with a low damage mitigation supers, we tested it against like Arc Strider and stuff, or Spectral Blades when you're not invisible, where you have less damage mitigation, and it still took 2 body shots from the Borealis to break the shield.
So, and it also, the body shot does 72 to 70, I think it was 75 or so on the lower damage mitigation super. So in 2 shots, you'd break the shields, you get the damage buff, but even without it, it's still over 200 damage with 3 body shots. So the additional, like, it's not like it takes 4 shots, but now it's down to 3 because you shot him twice and you got a damage buff. It was going to kill him in 3 anyways. And so it really is just pointless. And it's weird to me that they specify in the perk that if you pop a Guardian shield that's in their super with matched elements, you even have to like plan ahead before the guy even pops his super, have the right element equipped, and then still, you know, if you hit him in the face, it kills him and pops his shield and you get the damage buff, but the damage buff does nothing, you know? It's literally pointless in PvP.
You stumbled on, I guess, more so you, but you stumbled on this basically looking for snipers that weren't going to sunset, that are kind of like a good enough replacement that we can kind of carry, because like I don't have a good energy sniper basically to carry into next season.
You don't like Ikelos?
It's 140.
It's the high zoom, the faster rate of fire. Like
It doesn't have high zoom. It's got 45.
Okay, I'm sorry. I take higher than Revoker.
Everything's
higher
higher than
than
Revoker.
Every sniper in the game.
Higher than the freaking lowest zoom sniper in the game. But then it's just the archetype too. Like I don't know what it is. Like I know sniping somebody out of a super is going to be way more situational, because like an Ikelos will still one shot to the head if you're not in your super, right? Don't really care too much about the body shots. It's just the fact that like when you do hit a headshot with one of those rapid fire frames, it's just like, okay, that could have been a kill. I still have to click his head again basically to kill him, is what I don't know. That's why I just don't love the Ikelos, or just that archetype in general. But yeah, that's kind of how we stumbled upon this, was like, let's find something that we can carry through season to season in case we don't have a wonderful replacement, basically.
Well,
I
and
guess the LTDR or TLDR, I don't have dyslexia. The TLDR is like, would you or would you not carry this from one season to the next, basically, if you don't have a good energy sniper to take with you?
see, and I would. Like I said, I've been using it and I've been loving it. I just got excited when I read that I was like, oh, this sounds cool. Like, either I one-shot them to the body and I get this damage buff, so I can, two-tap them to the body when they're in their super, or I dome them in the face, and now I can take out their teammates with a body shot, and that's just not the case. So, real quick, Gamers in the chat, he was asking if that came out during Forsaken. It was actually a PlayStation exclusive through all of year one. And
I
then,
played Xbox.
Then it came to Xbox and PC when Forsaken launched, and at that point is when they changed the system around, went away from the double primaries, and so it got moved into the energy slot. So yeah, that's Borealis' history. I'm also very pissed that Eververse was selling the ornament that looks sexy AF about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I didn't pick it up because I was like, who uses Borealis? And now I'm over here like...
I still thought it was a heavy up until,
yeah,
however many days ago when you told me that it's not. So...
yeah. So...
well, that's the Borealis. It was this close to being solid replacement for your...
it's still great. Everything else, like stat-wise and stuff, it's amazing. It's just that perk literally does nothing. Like, I guess in PvE, but when are you going to equip Borealis in PvE? Like, there's so many better damage-dealing weapons for PvE scenarios, I feel like.
We just need to get enough... we need to start a movement. We need to get enough people using it, and we need to get enough people on Twitter to be complaining about it before Bungie... that's how we're going to get them to buff it.
I think there's just a lot of things in the game like that they made some change elsewhere in the game that affected weapon, armor, stats, mods, whatever, and it was just kind of overlooked. Like, they moved it from one slot to the other, and so now that damage buff is just worthless because the weapon itself does less damage now that it's not a heavy weapon. It's like,
yeah,
it needs to be adjusted for the change that happened, but it just, with all the changes they made to the game, it's just something that flew under the radar. So
kind of like keeping fusions as hit scans instead of projectiles.
Yeah.
When they moved those up from heavy.
Yeah, so if people don't know, the reason everyone was complaining about Erentil and nobody gave a crap about fusion rifles in Destiny 1 is because in Destiny 1 they were projectiles that had travel time, and they were switched to hit scan at the start of Destiny 2 because they were heavy weapons, and when they got moved, they
extra sauce.
Yeah, they just retained that aspect, and so that's why if your reticle is on somebody when the fusion fires, it deletes them. So,
auto. Isn't that right, Taka? You freaking.
I've never used a fusion rifle before.
Oh,
Never.
Really? You haven't? Right now, check your inventory. Open up Dim. What's equipped on your characters? I bet you're gonna have either a Lamanark or an Erentil. No,
it's a Void Sniper. It's really short. It doesn't have a long barrel.
It's blue.
So on the side.
The Nightfall, freaking Nightfall, double loot Nightfall. Did you guys do any Grandmasters? Did you just do regular?
I wanted to do a Grandmaster just to have done it, but we never got around to it.
Didn't you? You guys solo it? Didn't you solo it, former, or tried to solo it?
I soloed the 1050, like 3 or 4 times or something like that.
So, we need to get this out of the way before we get too far into this, because the double loot, awesome, fantastic. I think all around, great activity. PvP and PvE players alike, we all have armor that we need more materials to masterwork and upgrade. Blah 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 blah. Can we please freaking address how the stupid robot that is the postmaster just takes it upon himself to throw away your stacks of prisms and your stacks of golf balls to make room for the blues that you get in quick play? What the freak?
Yeah, I lost 24 prisms yesterday.
24 prisms.
24 prisms.
It's like 6 runs. It's anywhere from 4 to 6 runs of the Nightfall.
Yeah, and 2.5 golf balls is what it equates to. But not bitter.
Stupid. Did you lose any materials, Taka?
No, I keep really good track of my postmaster on dim. I refresh between every game, make sure it's not getting full.
See, and that's how I lost it. We were playing Crucible, which drops 3 to 4 blues whether you win or lose, and ain't nobody got time for that. So it goes to the postmaster, and just he's like, "Oh, this pile of gold crystals. This doesn't look important."
What's the postmaster's name?
I don't know.
Postmaster?
Is it postmaster?
I think it is just postmaster.
44
That's why we
or
call it the
something like that?
postmaster.
It pisses me off.
He's the master of the post, dude. He knows. He knows
Yeah,
what's
but
important.
it's also just like, it's just like, cool, here's this exotic. I think just there should be something in the games, like they need to code it in somehow to where there's some type of prioritization of stuff that the postmaster deletes instantly.
Or
Um,
hear me out. Don't give us blues.
right. So the blues need to just not happen. But I don't like how you have to spawn into the tower for it to tell you that your postmaster's out of space, or like spawn into the next screen or whatever. I think it should just be like, all those blues drop, and then it's like, hey, open up dim right now, please. Get rid of this. But no, yeah, that coupled with blues should just stop it.
Yeah.
Just go away. Why would the game think that I would rather have blues over my prisms or my gold?
Why does it give you blues is what I want to know. How come you finish a Crucible match and it gives you 4 blues? You just don't. I don't know.
Could also just put the on dim. You can switch it to farming mode. if you
What?
wanted.
Wait, what?
So on dim, you can switch it to farming mode, and it'll make sure you always have an empty space on your character in each slot.
What?
And so if your character fills, like if you fill up on helmets, it'll automatically transfer one of your helmets to your vault to make sure
Oh,
there's
but
always
there's
at least one space.
What? Dim is preventing items from going to the postmaster by making sure there's always one empty space per item type on Awoken Female Warlock. It is moving items to the vault to make room. That is freaking amazing.
Good job making an Awoken, by the way.
Yeah. Duh.
So I mean,
What
I
did-
haven't
what, you want me to
used
make
it.
an EXO?
I haven't used
Yeah,
the
right.
farming thing, but
No, I just clicked it on all 3 of my characters.
Yeah, well, that would have been some helpful information yesterday. But
Seriously.
like I could see it being a little bit annoying. Like you fill up and then it transfers a gun that you tend to switch to
Yeah.
mid match or whatever to your vault, and then you go to put it on. You're like, oh crap! It kept a freaking like blue in my inventory. I mean, I don't know how it prioritizes what it keeps and what it boots.
that was
and
the
all
first
stuff.
thing I thought of when you said that, because like I have 3 to 4 sets of armor that I hold on to, and usually a couple others like exotics and things just in each slot. And so if like, one of my helmets all of a sudden wasn't there, I gotta go find out which one it is in my vault. That doesn't sound fun,
Well,
but
that's another...
losing
that's
24
just
prisms
another
isn't fun either.
reason.
So
Yeah, I've always thought there needs to be... I mean, just... If we're really going to lean into the MMORPG aspect of the game, there just needs to be a section in your menu where you can just... Here's my PvP build for this stat distribution. Click one button and it equips everything. Like, that just needs to be...
you mean like Dim does?
Okay, but built
You
in.
mean like-
And better than Dim. I actually don't really like the way Dim does it. The
That was
loadout
me being
optimizer?
sarcastic. Yeah, just take that.
What?
Like Bungie, just call up Dim, just be like, hey, we're gonna put this in the game, and then just copy paste. That's all you gotta do.
What did you say, Taka?
I said you don't like the dim loadout optimizer?
No, because it's not the same thing as like, I want there to be a page in your inventory where you have 5 empty slots and you can just drag and drop each piece and then name your set and then boom, there's your, like, I
You
just,
can do that in dim.
but it's not that clean. You have to like set your mobility and like do.
No. That's the loadout optimizer. That's if you want to make a new build. You can literally go up to your character and click create loadout.
Wait, hold on, Beard. You don't know this? I just spent like 5 minutes making fun of it.
You kidding me?
You legit just hit create loadout, and at the bottom, you know, you
I'm
can
hitting
hit,
it.
yeah, you can hit equipped, and it'll put all your equipped stuff in there right now. And like, you can even have like your subclass and your ghost and your weapons and whatever.
Yeah.
And like, you can
Oh
straight.
my goodness.
So the only problem is if like you're in the middle of a game or if you're on a destination, dim can't switch what's equipped on your character.
Yeah.
So, but if you're in orbit or if you're in the tower or something, yeah, you can just go to dim, hit boom, loadout, and it'll automatically move all the stuff from wherever it's at in your vault, and it'll equip it onto your character.
It's freaking amazing.
So like I even have like a PvP weapons loadout thing, and I just hit it and it moves all of my most commonly used PvP weapons into my inventory just to make sure I have them there. So it'll pull like my Revoker and my Bastion and my Traveler's Chosen and my Last Word and my Erentil and all the stuff.
Wait, you're what?
The low zoom sniper we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So you have literally, like, that actually, like, I loved him. I couldn't believe there are like people living under rocks and still not using it, and this just opened up. Like, I love it 10 times more now. It's freaking amazing.
I haven't messed with it actually in a while. I used to have on my hunter like a couple builds, and so I'd swap over when I was playing Gunslinger or whatever.
There are people who play this game that still don't use DIM.
Or use the phone app.
Yeah, like there's this. I mean, he's
phone app's
probably
rough.
listening.
The phone app
There's
is
this guy
way
in our
better.
clan that, like, oh, let me go grab this gun real quick. Hold on, and like he pulls up his phone. He's sitting at his computer playing the freaking game with us. He pulls out his phone
Alt
to
tab.
go grab his freaking sniper or whatever he's switching to.
What really is just like I mean, I have the app, but it's such a pain to open the app, let it load, click on characters, find your character. If you're needing to pull something out of your vault, you have to search for it because your screen isn't big enough to just like move it over. Like, it's just so easy with DIM to just drag and drop that.
On Dim, you have all the stuff in your vault. You're just like, they have a search bar at the top, and you can just search for the weapon name, or you can put like sniper rifle, and it'll highlight all of your sniper rifles.
Yeah.
And it makes it really easy to find whatever you want.
You are blowing Beard's mind right now, by the way. He's like, you can do what?
Or like, when it's like, oh crap, we need a solar weapon for this Nightfall because there's match game. I'll literally just go into Dim and I'll type solar, and it'll highlight all of my solar weapons. And I go, oh, here's this one, here's that one.
Cool. If you just want to like code, write your search, then all right. Like, how about just DIM for normies, please?
Yeah,
That's so freaking amazing, though.
This is now the DIM tutorial.
Like the only time
episode
I ever open up the companion app on my phone is just like when I'm like, I got off playing and I'm just like, I don't know, I'm gonna text out to the group or like, oh, I got this awesome roll on whatever. Like,
screenshot it.
What roll was it exactly? Yeah, go screenshot it. But
so I do use it to check Spider each day.
yeah, you and Spider do lots of business together.
Dude, I spend Glimmer like I'm a freaking, I don't know, betting against the black market. Dude, my Glimmer disappears like nobody's business. Part of it is because I buy a bunch of shaders.
And
between every Crucible match, it's like, oh, I gotta change my shaders.
It's not every Crucible match, but yeah, you get through like 5 matches and you're like, all right, I gotta switch something up here. I've been red for the past 5 games. It's time to be gold, You just gotta.
You can view shaders while you're flying in space on PC. Like, of course we're gonna take advantage of that.
Yeah.
That's what we spent all the money to play PC on for. Was like, that's why we did this.
Yeah.
Not the frames. But yeah, I think overall though, I didn't play it nearly as much as you guys did. I played, Tuesday, Friday, but that's kind of all I did was just farm it. Ended up with a stack and a half of each thing on the character that I did it. Don't know why the stacks are limited. If it's just an in-game currency or material that's scarce as it is. But all of us got plenty. Would you guys like to see this come back? Should it just be a Nightfall thing? Do you think it'd be cool, every couple of weeks or whatever they introduce a new core activity that has double loot? What are you guys' thoughts on wanting this to come back and be a regular thing?
I think it should change. Like, I don't think it should just be double loot Nightfalls every month or whatever, however often you decide to do it. I think it'd be really cool to do something kind of special at least every 2 to 4 weeks. Whether that's like a double loot Nightfall or maybe even like I don't know, maybe if there's like a cool weapon that people were after, and like, hey, the drop rate for this weapon is up in, such and such playlist, and it's a lot easier to farm this week. Go at it. Or,
That'd be
double
awesome.
loot in trials or double loot somewhere else. Like, it doesn't just have to be double loot. It could be something else cool, like increased drop rate for a weapon, or I don't know.
So long as it doesn't double the drop rate for blues, please.
Double drop rate in control.
Can you imagine? They're like double rewards for trials. Everybody hops into trials, and first game it's just like brrr, just 6 to 8 blues drop, and you're like, I'm not playing this anymore. That's way too much management of my freaking vault and postmaster to have to put up with. But yeah, no, I 100% agree though. Like, sarcasm aside,
You just have like hey, this week, like, exotic engrams are going to have twice the drop rate across all activities in the game. Just like go at it, or whatever. Like, it'd just be fun to have these kind of special events more often.
Catalyst would be a cool thing because a lot of those drop just in like strikes, and there's people that will try and get a specific catalyst like Rat King or whatever, and they'll run like 5 or 6 strikes in a row and it doesn't drop. And it's like, if they're like, hey, double drop rate for catalysts in the Vanguard Strike playlist, it gives people a reason to hop in there and try and farm out some of the ones they might be chasing. So
because we usually don't, like, outside of like a pinnacle reward, or I don't know, it's broken or something like that, there's some kind of glitch, like, we usually don't do, I don't usually care that much to jump in and do a Nightfall. I'm not a PvE kind of oriented player. This was more than enough to get me to jump in and forego kind of like, my hours playing the game, dedicate it solely to just farming materials instead of playing Crucible or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So because that's huge to me. Stack up on golf balls, get as many prisms as I possibly can. Totally a reason, especially with new armor coming out, just new stuff. I would like to have the materials. So even if we don't go as far ahead to say extra, double drop rate or higher drop rate on weapons, catalysts, that kind of thing, I think it'd be cool to see, even if it doesn't change outside of Nightfalls for a while, to see this exact thing come out, maybe just like opposite the Iron Banner rotation. Every couple of weeks, it's either Iron Banner, and then we're going to go over to this, and then, kind of like on those in between, to have a reason to.
Like this week.
Exactly.
Double infamy. Woo!
Yeah, okay, cool. At any point, if they're ever going to do double or triple infamy, just copy and paste this instead.
Yeah.
Keep Gambit to yourself.
Yeah, like, what if they were just like, hey, this week it's like triple exotic engram drop rate in Gambit. Dude, I'd go play Gambit.
Okay, maybe I'd want to go do Gambit.
Like,
what's the regular drop rate though? Because if it goes from like
know.
0.01% to 0.03%, it's still rough.
Yeah. It's just an example though. Like,
no, but yeah.
Like, hey, you get a guaranteed exotic drop at the end of every Gambit match. Like,
well, that's
go
the funny
play.
thing, I don't remember how long ago it was, but I feel like double drops or like increased drop rate on prisms or whatever was like a glitch in a Nightfall. However long ago.
It was
on
the Warden strike, wasn't it?
Yes. With
The first time that became the Nightfall ordeal.
the not Sepix thing at the end.
The not Sepix one.
The Warden servitor.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It was just a glitch. It would give you the rewards twice. It would proc it twice. And
Yeah, because it actually dropped, like this one, it was double rewards, but for example, if you got a bunch of prisms, it would drop as a stack of 6 or 8 or whatever prisms. In that particular occasion, you would get like 1 or 2, and then another stack of like 1 to 3 or whatever. Like they would drop two squares of prisms, or whatever else dropped, enhancement cores, whatever tier you were doing or whatever. So yeah, it was 100% just a glitch last time, but same thing. It got everybody in grinding the activity, and I think it's a great way, whether it's double drops or super high chance to get whatever thing, an exotic, particular weapon with a low drop chance. Like, perfect reason to get people into Gambit, into the regular strike playlist, into the dungeons. Yeah. Like, how cool would it be if you had better drops in like the dungeons or whatever? Or they're like, this week the prophecy dungeon every encounter it's not the same drop. It's always random, so you can sit there and just farm
Yeah.
it over and over.
That's
You know,
that's a good point, bringing that into like other past, content or whatever that we don't really have a reason to go back and do anymore. Well, hey, higher exotic drop chance or double rewards, whatever it is, that's a great reason to go back and play.
Or like raids, like they just made a lot of these raids that are going to get sunset. You can farm them and you can try and get the rewards over and over again. If they're just like, hey, this week, you can go farm Garden of Salvation as much as you want, like for drops and stuff. Go at it.
I think it should always be that way. But completely honest, I'd be content if that was the middle ground we found. That every so often it was a hey, for this week you can go into this raid, and every time you do the encounter you're going to get a new drop. I'd be fine with that. If it wasn't a forever thing, bring it around every so often, because I think raids are one of the most, first off, just underplayed, because it's hard for people to get a group of 6. There's a lot of people that just don't get a chance to do the raids. But like, I feel like there's a lot of times we do raids and then we just have no reason to do them again because we all got the drops. And it's like, yeah, we can rotate characters, but if there's something you're chasing, especially armor, if it's a visual thing, if you're trying to get it for transmog, if you're trying to get a certain stat distribution, the last wish raid armor was super key for running this Nightfall last week because of the taken barrier, taken armaments, all those mods you can throw on there. Like, I was running it on my Warlock, and there are 2 or 3 pieces that had terrible stat distributions, but they were the only ones I had, so I had to put them on because I needed the mods. Like, I would love to go and farm out a full set to have on that character, but I can only do 1 run a week. And so if they made that an opportunity, I'm sure a bunch of people would be excited and they could go through and everybody could get the stuff they want,
I think it just speaks to the fact that in a looter shooter, there's no shortage by any means of guns and armor and stuff to go get, but I mean, a lot of it's kind of fluff, right? That's what we're talking about with the blues. That's just fluff. Like, yeah, but we don't just want loot to drop all over the place. Having more meaningful loot drops or ways to go get more meaningful materials, I think it's fantastic. So that's what I mean. Maybe we're thinking too far, and I mean, I think that'd be great at some point into the future if things like this came around. But even if just this exact same thing, Nightfall Ordeal, the Grandmaster and Master difficulties, the opposite of the Iron Banner rotation, go do it for extra upgrade materials, I think that's fantastic. I would gladly
even if it was once a season, honestly. Like,
sure, yeah.
Seasons are what, like 3 months
1 week
ish,
where you go
2.5
crazy.
months. If every so often it was just, okay, this is my chance to stock up and masterwork a bunch of gear, I think we'd always farm it every time it comes around. I don't even think it needs to be a routine every couple weeks or once a month even. Like, if it was just frequent enough to where when it comes around we could take advantage of it and utilize that time to stock up on materials. Like, I masterworked like almost 2 full sets of armor and like 3 exotics or something, just because I was able to get enough shards, and you were getting them fast enough and consistently enough that I was comfortable throwing 3 shards at an exotic, knowing that I could recover those in the next 30 minutes to an hour. So
like at the end of the season,
yeah,
kind of do this thing to where you've had the whole season to collect armor and get your stat distributions, and you got the exotic or whatever, and cool, I have my armor that it's not gonna sunset for the next 3 seasons. End of the season comes around, I know I can go get my prisms and my shards and stuff, my golf balls.
Yeah,
I think that'd be cool. Hey, Bungie, if you're listening to our humble little show, all we're asking is just do this again. End of the season. Especially with the ghosts, the changes to the ghosts too, with like the harvesters. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was the screenshots in the TWAB of like harvester mods that we're gonna equip onto our ghosts. The main thing to take away from the changes for the ghost though is now any ghost you want can have speed demon, which, let's be real, that's the only perk that matters right now on ghosts. Speed demon.
Did they show? I don't think they showed speed demon, did they?
No, but
we're assuming.
That's what I'm assuming, right?
But
no, they showed like the activity, like there or whatever, like like there's mods that are going to be expiring, because now your ghosts are going to have energy levels just like your armor does, and you'll be able to slot in mods. I thought they said that all of the existing perks are going to turn into mods.
I think they said most of them will. and then there'll be some new ones. Because it also depends on what slot they go in, because they said that like each slot there's gonna be like a harvester slot, or like an increased experience slot, or like a increased material slot, so
Something
there
about
are some
Glimmer.
limiting factors in that sense.
So just a real quick comment. That is how ghosts work right now. So like, if you're looking at the image, they've got, like Taka was saying, the first slot is for experience gains. You can get increased experience. There's another one for like items and materials and things to drop. There's one for Glimmer, and then there's fourth slot, which is kind of that like exotic type slot, I would imagine. But most ghosts right now will have usually like there's like Glimmer Glimmer Scavenger or whatever they're called to like, for example, I have one for Crucible that I hold on to where I get additional experience and I get additional Glimmer for completing Crucible matches. And so I usually throw that on when we're in the Crucible because it helps replenish my Glimmer that I run out so frequently on. And so it looks like there's a specific slot for those types of things. There's probably one you can pick for get additional Glimmer for playing in the Crucible, or get additional Glimmer for completing a strike or whatever. And so you have a chance to put a Glimmer mod in there for whatever activity you're planning on doing or whatever to get more Glimmer, or you can forego it to put on a mod that gives you higher experience gains, or some of the ones in these last slots cost up to 6 to have a chance for an enhancement prism to drop. So it just gives you that level of customization that we kind of have on armor right now. And I think it's kind of cool that I can just keep the one ghost I care about equipped, and I can go through and swap out the mods depending on what activity we're going to do, or just leave the ones that are kind of good for just about anything. Speed Demon, if it's on there, whatever, Treasure Hunter, whatever, perk I decide I want on there. And
always Speed Demon.
Yeah, and just leave it. So I do like the fact of the experience thing. So like, it shows on here just increase experience gains by 12% is the one they're showing that costs 6 energy. That's awesome, because I always have to swap over to my other ghost that gives me, I think it's 15%.
When you turn in your bounties?
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, I finished a bunch of bounties. I got to swap my ghost, then turn them in so I get the most experience towards my season pass and whatever. It's like, now I won't have to do that because I'll just always have that on. So any activity I finish, any bounties I turn in, I'll just automatically be getting that enhanced experience. So I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Guiding Light. Thanks, Gamer.
The wording is that a selection of mods will be available on all ghosts by default, while the remaining ones will be obtainable via various gameplay sources. And then information on where to find these mods can be learned from the collections. So yeah, when it says a selection of mods, I'm just assuming that some or a lot of the current ones are just basically going to carry over.
They have to take Speed Demon, let's be honest. That's like...
The question it then becomes, how much is it going to cost, and are you going to be able to pair it with other things that are really cool, or are you still going to have to make like a, kind of a tough choice? Yeah, because it shows like the Blinding Light or whatever. It looks like it's the new version of Guiding Light. Increase XP gains by 12%.
Bigger,
but it costs 6.
Yeah.
So like I could totally see Speed Demon being like another 6 cost thing too. So like you wouldn't be able to put both of those on at the same time. Potentially.
But I just leave Guiding Light on, right? Because if Guiding Light's going to cost less than 6, then I got.
Yeah, that's true. If it's just different levels, like maybe Blinding Light gives you. I don't know.
You just settle for 10% experience bonus. Yeah.
That is so worth the time that you save not waiting for your Sparrow.
It's only because the Sparrow from Scourge of the Past can't roll with the perk where you summon it quick, because it has the built-in things don't shoot at you or whatever. So you have to have Speed Demon. Otherwise you can't use that Sparrow because it's just it's too slow.
Masterwork Sparrows win.
Can we Masterwork Sparrows, please?
Is that going to be the next thing?
Fingers crossed.
I mean, I think that's kind of the direction. I don't know.
Then ships?
Yeah.
Ships don't give perks, but that'd be cool.
But I like the ghost changes. All in all, I think it's definitely a positive.
I do like the concept that your ghost does something, because he's supposed to be an integral part of like your character and the story and everything, and you kind of just swap through depending on. Like, he's always changing depending on what perks you need at the moment. So now you can be like, this is my ghost, and then just deal with stuff after, like as far as what mods you want on there. So I think it's cool.
At the beginning of the TWAB, it says that the Guardian's Ghost is their most trusted ally and is tasked with keeping them in the fight. And I was like, oh yeah, your ghost is the one that makes you not die. Like, oh yeah, there is a key role that your ghost plays. I forgot about that. But yeah, I think that's a good adjustment to the game. The harvesters thing too, though, just kind of going back to the masterwork and upgrade materials, being able to have that slapped on when you do go run your strikes. I imagine there'll be a Crucible one, right? Like each Crucible match has a chance to drop a enhancement prism or something like that. Like, that's awesome.
Oh, I hope so. Oh my gosh, I might not run strikes anymore.
I mean, I don't want to like be like guessing too far ahead of myself, but just in that same screenshot where it talks about the Greater Core Harvester, you look at the icon, the little thing for it, and it's just a Vanguard symbol with the 6, but then there's also, I mean, there's other ones there, but there are some Crucible ones with a 6 too. And so
it also says, if you look at the name of the mod, it says Greater Core Harvest, and then in parentheses, Vanguard.
Yep, there you go.
So, like, it would make sense that they have a Greater Core Harvest Crucible or whatever.
Well,
yeah.
Like, why would they specify this one's for Vanguard if, you know?
Well, so
then
on
there's gonna be Gambit, Vanguard.
Yeah, on that whole first line, if you look at it, so it's Greater Core Harvest. There's one that's almost the exact identical symbol, just a more simple circle around it that costs 4. I'm guessing that's just a regular Core Harvest for Vanguard. And then there's 2, same thing, 4 and 6 for Gambit, and 2, 4 and 6 for Crucible. So it looks like, yeah, you're going to have the opportunity to pick. The greater one just sounds like likely has a higher chance than the regular, I would guess. But like, that's an awesome change, because that's one of the big complaints, specifically of the PvP community, that in order to get the things I need to enhance my armor and masterwork it are only found in PvE. And so this gives you the chance to where I can just get those materials as I'm playing my PvP that I prefer to play.
Which I wish that they would, like, Bungie's never been good about giving players like the nitty-gritty stats.
Yeah.
But like, I hate when they say stuff like defeating bosses in Vanguard playlist strikes has a chance to award an enhancer prism.
Yeah, just say like 2% chance.
Is it a 2% chance? Is it a 10% chance? Is it a 0.05% chance? Like,
they give us the XP number. Just
I want to know, like, because that makes a huge deal whether I use that or not. So, and like, I don't see a good reason for them to not give us the information. Like, we're gonna find out eventually that, hey, this is good, or hey, this sucks. Like,
yeah,
that's what's funny, because they do it with, you're right, Former, they do it with the XP, because with Blinding Light, Guiding Light, they could just say increase XP gains, and then with Blinding Light, it could be like massively increases XP gains.
I'm surprised they don't do that, to be honest.
Right, yeah.
It's just funny that they're opening up in that category, but they won't tell us the prisms, you know? Then again, like, if it's an increased chance, right? We don't know what the actual drop chance is. Like, for example, in the Vanguard or the Nightfall, it's saying increased chance, so it's a multiplier of what the chance already is. So, you know, that could be a factor of, like, they could put 25%, but it's not that every 4 games you're going to get prisms. It's multiplying an additional 25% higher than what, you know, it would otherwise be or whatever. But at the same time, when it comes to like Crucible and Gambit, you don't get those drops. So it's just, what's the chance having this mod equipped that at the end of a Crucible match I'm going to get a prism?
I remember when I first played D1, when you're leveling up your character, like, you actually have a level, like, which you, whether or not you remember that was a thing at some point back early Destiny, like early D1, early D2, where your character leveled up. Yeah, forever ago. And when you're just leveling up, that's fine. You can grind out your levels just killing people in the Crucible, completing matches, whatever it was. And then now, obviously, we have the bounties that kind of drive up your level. But it does just get to a point where it's not like I can't just keep playing Crucible matches to get access to everything I need to continue to gain levels, grow, you know, your light level or power, I guess. I still have the habit of calling it light. And so I just think that this is finally a step in that direction of, like, you can just sit in Crucible matches all day if that's what you like to play, and then still be able to have access to the materials and all that kind of stuff that you need to.
Which is what we all want at the end of the day.
Exactly what we all want. And what we all don't want is just more blues.
Yeah.
Definitely just the theme of like the entire episode. We love the good loot, we hate the blues. But yeah, and then I guess one of the other things that happened this week, noteworthy, was just the other reveal too. The not really game. I guess it's just more of a storyline reveal. Varix, the Warden.
I mean, it showed a lot of Europa. The trailer is about the new space that's coming to the game, and like we said, it's a teaser trailer, so they don't go through and say this is whatever area, or this is a new strike, or this is the raid. We just got to see a lot of the space that's going to be released. A lot of the snow.
They did showcase a new enemy a little bit. A Vex enemy.
That looks like the. So I thought it looked not taken. I thought it looked Fallen to me. It looked like a mini version of the boss from Scourge.
There was that.
Oh, were you talking about like the
I'm talking about the little like tendrily things,
Yeah, like the Vexed Mind, the whatever it was called from D1. The Restorative Mind or whatever. Yeah, but then it does like a freaking Titan Slam.
Mm-hmm.
Like they gave the freaking, I don't know if it's a raid boss, but like they give the boss like Titan abilities. That's not cool.
So
but other than like, so there was this one space, like obviously it's Europa, it's the moon, but they had this other area that everybody was running through that was like all like white looking. It was like a lab or something like that. Like it was like all super bright and like some kind of like, it looked like Kimono from Attack of the Clones, like where all the freaking all the clones were being made, like that. Yeah, like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Kimono is what you wear in Japan.
Kimono. Isn't that what? That's what the moon was called, wasn't it?
Camino.
Yeah, that thing.
So
whatever. That place. You heard what I meant.
Only because
that space looked freaking sweet. Whether that's a strike or a raid, like I just want to go there. The place looked awesome.
So I had two takeaways from watching the trailer. One is Varix, who we haven't seen since D1.
Yes.
Was being all creepy doing his voiceover, so that's exciting, so we get to get him back. But the other was there were a couple points in the trailer where you see enemies using stasis, which was very interesting. There were Fallen. One of them shot what looks like one of the grenades we have that kind of travels along the ground and freezes things.
Was that a Fallen that shot that?
Yep. And there was one who kind of had the crystals like in his hands in front of him.
Ooh.
It showed that right before it showed the wall of ice, not ice, whatever, traveling across the ground.
Frozen darkness.
The frozen darkness. So, like, that's something we kind of assumed was coming, and they hinted at that there were going to be enemies and stuff. We know that stasis is going to be a fourth affinity, and there's going to be weapons that are going to be stasis affinity, just like there's Solar Arc and Void right now. But it was cool to see some enemies actually using some abilities and having stasis like powers or whatever, or attacks more or less. Also, I don't understand or pretend to know lore, but the stranger, who we know is not a guardian and has a little thing that flies around that has also been confirmed to not be a ghost, was definitely holding a little stasis crystal all creepily at the very end of the trailer, and you're just like,
well, because it like mimicked the giant one too, because there's the big huge one that they shot a couple of times. It's like the exact same thing but just small.
Yeah, well, and like when we first saw the first trailer that they released for Beyond Light, it shows, I don't know the chick's name or dude's name or whatever it is, the fallen person that we're supposed to be fighting against, who's like the main antagonist or whatever. It's like her hand holding that crystal. Like, that was the crystal the stranger was holding. And so you're kind of just like, is that stasis? Is that like some kind of an artifact thing that goes along with the story? And how did she get it? So just a lot of like, get excited and just like get you in the touchy feelies,
Oh yeah, touched and feeled.
Yeah, we were supposed to be playing Beyond Light today.
Feels bad.
Today was gonna be it.
Today was launch day.
So there was a couple things though that Varric said that kind of caught my eye. I mean, because like obviously Bungie knows how to put together a trailer. Sometimes the dialogue actually can be really, really good. Like a lot of the dialogue from Ikora back when like Cade got shot, all that kind of stuff. Like they can put together some really good cinematics. I've just generally not cared very much about the story in Destiny. Like you play it to get it done with, so you can go play Crucible, right? At least
Until Cade died. Forsaken was a good story.
Incredible, right? And
up until we shot him. And we don't know what happened.
So what I'm getting at though is this is kind of giving me, if you pay attention to what Varric is saying in that trailer, it's kind of giving me similar level of like intrigue as far as the story. Because one of the things he mentions is like many people come to this moon seeking answers or something along those lines. And it kind of calls back to just the very first trailer we saw with Drifter and Eris and the Drifter, everybody just kind of showing up. And it's like, wait, how are all these people interconnected or intertwined? And then he kind of talks about like, yeah, like what are you here for, basically? Like everybody has answers that they're looking for when they come here. You know, what are you guys looking for? Kind of gave me some Fable kind of vibes to it. It's like, oh,
that was a good game.
Such a good game. Freaking love those games. But yeah, so I don't know. That like the Varric's had some interesting things to say that like actually really got me interested in. You know, what is the Vanguard, right? Why is our Guardian here? What are we doing? So,
that's kind of all the questions that are being provoked in this, right? Like, you know, we picked up the game of Destiny and it was just, you're the protagonist, you have these powers, go kill the bad guys. And now it's putting everything in question of, have you actually been killing the bad guys, and, you know, who are you fighting for, and da-da-da-da. Which, nice try, but it's the last safe city. We're humanity, and that's the side we're fighting on.
For the humans.
For the humans. But if I had the choice, I'd side with the Awoken immediately.
Every time.
No questions asked.
Every time.
Marasov walks out, she's like, shoot Zavala. It's like, boom. What next? Yes, my queen.
Yeah. I'm excited though. I mean, obviously the story's the story, right? We're all gonna be done with it within the first day or so, and we're gonna go try out all of our new stasis weapons and abilities and all that stuff in Crucible. But I'm actually much more so than, I mean, Shadowkeep I was interested just because it was around October. It was kind of Halloweeny. It was creepy. I like creepy stuff. But this is, since Forsaken, this has been the most interested I've been in the actual story progression of the game.
Yeah.
So.
Plus we get Ice Ninja Stars. Not Ice Ninja Stars. But
that is all we're really here for.
Frozen Darkness Ninja Stars.
Bouncy magnetic ninja stars.
2 of them.
Because we're not good enough with the ninja stars to be real ninjas.
Yeah.
The game has to give it to us a little bit. All the hype though. I'm excited. Super excited. I think, what do we have? Like there's another Iron Banner in the mix between now and then. We have the Halloween event next month.
That'll be cool.
So a little bit to tie us over still.
So there was a new quest that dropped for this week, which was kind of cool. I feel like everybody at this point probably knows about it, but definitely worth mentioning. So there was a dev who passed away last year named Matt Helsum, who was part of Vicarious Vision. He was one of the environment artists from Vicarious Vision, who was one of the partner companies Bungie partnered up with in some of the expansions. And basically there's a quest right now, not to spoil what actually happens in it, but you can go pick it up, start it from Anna Bray, and basically ties him into the lore of Destiny, and kind of pays some homage to him, which was just really cool to see that they kind of threw that in the game, to somebody who had kind of dedicated the time to it and made something special for it. So if you haven't checked it out, go do it. It is also a way, we'll say this spoiler, I don't even know what it's called. I could probably look it up here, but for completing the quest,
exotic cipher.
Yeah, you're able to get an exotic cipher, which, as far as I know, is the second time you're able to pick one up. The first one was in the season pass, and the exotic cipher lets you pick up one of the old exotics from past seasons that were questline items. So Bastion, Leviathan's Breath, Devil's Ruin. I'm missing one or two, but there's
Symmetry.
What was it?
Symmetry.
And
Area.
Ariana's Vow was the other one. And so those are all at the Cryptarch in the tower, and you have to spend one of those exotic ciphers to pick one up. And so this is a way to get a second cipher. So if you missed any of those seasons, it's a great way to go pick up some of those old exotics, because a lot of them are pretty good and a lot of fun to use. So
I didn't know that there was anything that dropped from the quest. I can't think of anything better.
Yeah.
Like, that's just cool. Like, hey, thanks for coming and playing this total side quest. Nobody needs to do it. It's not about the game itself, but like, here's just a little something to have played it. I think that's way cool.
Yeah. I think there might be some way to spend it on Xur or at Xur.
Yeah, you can cash it in as Xur for an exotic engram.
Yeah.
An extra exotic engram.
So, if you did stick around for the past seasons and you have those exotics already, it's giving you a free exotic drop. So that's pretty cool.
I'm kind of holding out for all of like the Forge exotics to turn into just things that you can pick up with the cipher, so I don't have to do the quest, and next season I can just spend it on Layman Arc.
If that's how it goes.
You've got like,
that's what I'm holding out.
It hurts to say, but almost 2 months until Beyond Light drops. You could just go get the bow.
Nope.
Like, you have the time.
Noxious quest line. Every week we change the thing. You have to come back 5 weeks in a row. Like, no, I'll pass. I'll wait to pick it up with a cipher.
Nice. Fingers crossed it goes there.
That's freaking awesome. Well, I think I guess we're just going to see who's on, but we're probably going to go play some 3v3 elimination private match. It's nice to have done the PvE stuff, gotten our materials. Now we can go have some fun in Crucible, which is what.
Yeah, it feels like a PvP week.
Definitely does.
Yep. We are all PvE'd out from last week.
Now it's time to see what Broyalis is all about, I guess. We'll see if it's any good.
That's what I'm going to be using. I am terrible with snipers, so I need all the practice I can get.
Well, excellent. Thank you, fellas. Thank you, guys, everybody who's joined in. Kind of a different week for us. On the technical side of things, we were just streaming to Twitch. So if you were here, if you were listening, if you tuned in later on into the show, thank you so much for being here with us. Thanks for participating in chat. If you want to listen to the show, if you've missed us at all, want to go back and listen towards the beginning, you can find the audio on Spotify. And then we post a video as well of the live stream to YouTube. And so you can find us there. We would very much appreciate it if you liked and shared our video. If you liked us follow us on Twitter as well. And shared it with everybody that plays Destiny. We definitely want to reach more people. We think we have fun stuff to say. We love talking about the game and talking to each other about it. We'd like to share it with people as well. So give us a like, give us a follow, and give us a share. Former Guardian, where can people find you if they want to hang out with you?
You guys can talk to me on Twitter at Former Guardian.
Excellent. And Taka, what about you?
You can also at me on Twitter at TheTaka.
At TheTaka. All kinds of backwards. And if you feel so inclined, you can find me on Twitter as well at TheRealBeard. Looking forward to having everybody on the show next week. We'll have all four of us. If Gamer gets internet up, I don't know. We'll see. I feel like he's grounded or something. His mom took away his internet. Unplugged the router. Excellent. Thank you all for being here with us. Thank you too as well. We will see you guys next week.
Later.
Peace out.